If you have been feeling stuck, and I mean genuinely, deeply, frustratingly stuck, not the mild kind of restlessness that passes in a day or two, but the specific weight of feeling like your life has stopped moving while everything around you seems to be in motion, I need you to stop whatever you are doing and give me your full attention. Because this reading was made for exactly where you are right now, not for the version of you that has things figured out, not for the version of you that is already in motion and simply needs confirmation. For the version of you that is sitting in the middle of a stillness that does not feel chosen, that does not feel peaceful, that feels more like being held in place by something invisible while the rest of the world keeps moving forward without you. I see you, I feel you, and I need you to hear what I am about to say because it is going to change the way you understand this period of your life completely. What is coming for you, what is already prepared, already arranged, already existing in the space, just ahead of where you currently stand, is something so specific, so extraordinary, so undeniably designed with your name on it that when I felt it in this reading, I had to sit with it for a long time before I could speak it because it is not small. And because the contrast between where you are right now and what is waiting just ahead of you is so significant that I wanted to be careful about how I bridge those two realities for you. I did not want to skip past the stuck place too quickly as though it doesn't matter, as though it isn't real, and leap immediately to the extraordinary thing. Because the stuck place is real and it deserves to be acknowledged before anything else. So let me start there. Let me start with exactly where you are. There is a particular kind of painful that comes with feeling stuck that is very different from other kinds of painful. Grief has a direction to it. It moves. Even when it moves slowly, it moves. Anger has an energy. It pushes, it demands, it wants to do something. But stuck is different. Stuck is static. Stuck is the feeling of effort that goes nowhere, of wanting that doesn't translate into movement, of waking up and feeling, despite your best intentions, despite your genuine desire to change things, like you are in the same place you were yesterday and the day before and the week before that. And because stuck doesn't look like suffering from the outside, because you are still functioning, still showing up, still doing all the things you are supposed to do, it is a very lonely kind of painful because you cannot always explain it. And even when you try, it is hard to make people understand the specific weight of it. The specific exhaustion of moving through your days knowing that this is not where you are supposed to be. This is not how things were supposed to look by now. This is not the version of your life you imagined when you imagined your life. I want you to know that I understand exactly what I just described. And I want you to know that what you have been feeling is not a character flaw. It is not evidence of failure. It is not a sign that you have done something wrong or missed something you were supposed to catch or fallen behind in some race that you were never told the rules of. It is a phase, a specific, identifiable, temporary phase that has a name and a purpose, and most importantly, an end. And the end of it is much closer than you think. Um, Let me stay here for a moment because I want to say something about the nature of feeling stuck that I think is going to reframe this entire experience for you. And that is this: The periods of greatest stillness in a person's life are almost never what they appear to be from the inside. From the inside, they feel like stagnation, like nothing is happening, like time is passing and you are not moving with it. But from a wider perspective, from the view that can see more of the story than you can see from where you are standing, what looks like stillness is almost always preparation. What looks like nothing happening is almost always everything happening, just below the level of visibility, just outside the range of what you can perceive in your current position. Think of it this way: a seed planted in soil looks, from the surface, like absolutely nothing is happening. The ground is still, there is no visible movement, there is no evidence, if you only look at the surface, that anything is occurring at all. And yet, beneath that surface, something extraordinary is in process. The seed is changing, the seed is becoming. The seed is developing the root structure, the cellular architecture, the foundational biology of what will eventually push through the surface and reach toward light. All of that invisible, underground, unglamorous work is what makes the eventual emergence possible. Without it, without that period of seemingly nothing, that period of stillness and darkness and invisible becoming, the growth that follows cannot happen. You are that seed right now, Virgo. And I know that is not always a comforting image when you are in the middle of it. I know that knowing you are in a preparation phase does not make the waiting less difficult, but I want you to really sit with the truth of it because it changes the meaning of this period in a way that matters. You are not stuck, you are becoming. And the becoming is happening in exactly the way it needs to happen, in exactly the timing it needs to happen in, whether or not any of it is visible from where you currently stand. And what you are becoming, what all of this underground, invisible, unglamorous preparation is building toward, is something that has already been reserved in your name. I want to hold on that phrase for a moment because I think it is the most important thing in this entire reading, and I want it to land in you properly. Reserved in your name, not available to you if you work hard enough, not possible if things go a certain way, not something you might attract if you get your energy right. Reserved, already claimed, already set aside, already existing in the space just ahead of you, with your name written on it in a way that cannot be reassigned, cannot be given to someone else, cannot be taken away by circumstances or timing or anything you did or didn't do. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what it means for something to be reserved for you specifically, waiting for you specifically, belonging to you in a way that is not conditional on your worthiness because your worthiness is not in question? It means that the question is not whether it is coming, it is coming. The question is simply whether you will be open enough, present enough, trusting enough to receive it when it arrives. Let me tell you what I feel when I sit with the specific energy of what has been reserved for you, because I want this to be concrete rather than abstract. What keeps coming through first, and it comes through with a warmth and a specificity that I find genuinely moving, is the energy of relief. Real, physical, bone deep relief. The kind that you feel in your shoulders before you feel it anywhere else, that specific releasing of something you have been holding so long you stopped noticing the tension of it. I keep sensing that what is coming for you is going to produce that feeling. That there is something in what approaches a development, a shift, a convergence of things that is going to make you exhale in a way you have not exhaled in a long time. And the exhale is going to be followed by something even more significant: the quiet, certain, unshakable knowledge that things are going to be okay. Not in the thin, fragile way you sometimes tell yourself things are going to be okay when you are trying to stay calm. In the deep, grounded, evidenced way, the way you know it when you can see it and feel it and touch the reality of it. That knowing is coming. I feel it arriving. I want to speak to the area of connection and relationship now because I feel it strongly in your energy, and I think it is deeply relevant to what has been contributing to this feeling of stuckness. Because sometimes, not always, but sometimes the stuckness is not just about external circumstances. Sometimes it is about waiting for something in the relational dimension of your life to shift, waiting for a connection that matches the depth of what you are capable of giving, waiting for someone to arrive who makes you feel less alone in the specific way that you have been alone, not physically necessarily, but in the interior sense. In the sense of feeling like the truest, most particular version of yourself is living in a space that not many people have access to. That your real interior is something you have learned to protect because not everyone has known what to do with it. What I keep sensing is that this particular aloneness, this specific kind of being unseen in the deepest room of yourself, is something that is about to change. What is reserved in your name is not only material, not only circumstantial, it includes a connection, a specific quality of connection that I want to try to describe, because I think when you hear it described, you will recognize it as something you have been quietly, persistently, stubbornly holding out for, even when holding out felt increasingly difficult. What is coming is someone who is interested in the room you protect, not as an intrusion, as an invitation. Someone whose presence will make you feel without having to try, without having to explain yourself, without having to translate your complexity into something more manageable, like the truest version of yourself is not only safe but wanted, not tolerated, wanted. Specifically, particularly, in all its full particular detail, wanted. I need you to hear that clearly because I think your heart has been telling you this was possible for longer than your mind has been comfortable believing. Your heart has been holding a standard, a very specific standard for what genuine connection feels like, and has been unwilling to fully lower it, even during the periods when lowering it would have been so much easier. And I want to honor that stubbornness, that faithfulness to your own deepest knowing about what is real and what is possible. That is one of the most important things about you. And it is about to be vindicated. Now, let me speak about the practical, material dimension of what is reserved for you, because I feel it equally strongly and I want to be specific. There is an opening approaching in the area of your work, your purpose, your contribution, call it what you will, that is going to shift things materially in a way that you have been needing for longer than you have fully admitted to yourself. I keep sensing something that has been delayed arriving, something you applied for, or worked toward, or positioned yourself for, or perhaps even gave up on at some point, because the timeline stretched beyond what seemed reasonable. Something that was in process in a space you cannot see is now moving toward completion, toward resolution, toward arrival. And when it comes, it is going to come with more than you were expecting. Not just the thing itself, but something additional, something extra that you did not account for in your original vision of how this would look. The universe tends to do that. It tends to make you wait longer than seems fair and then arrive with more than you asked for, as though the waiting was interest, as though patience earns something additional beyond the original thing. Your patience has earned something additional. I also keep sensing, and this is something I want to be very specific about because I feel it so clearly, an unexpected recognition, something being seen about your work or your capacity or your particular way of approaching things by someone who has the ability to translate that recognition into something real, not just a compliment, not just an acknowledgement that disappears into the air the moment it's spoken, something that becomes concrete, something that creates movement, something that opens a door that has been, until now, closed in a way you may have started to believe was permanent. It was never permanent, it was timed. I want to take a breath here because I am aware that some of you listening to this are in a place where the feeling of stuckness has been going on long enough that reading like this can feel dangerous, can feel like something to be careful of, something not to lean into too fully, because hope that arrives and then doesn't materialize has a specific quality of pain that is harder to recover from than no hope at all. I feel that in some of your energy. I feel the guardedness that comes from having been here before, from having felt that things were about to shift, only to find yourself still in the same place, still waiting, still not seeing the movement that seemed so close. I want to speak to that directly because it deserves a direct response. What I am sensing for you right now is not the same energy as those previous almost moments. And I want to try to articulate why, because I think the distinction matters. Those previous moments where it felt like something was coming, sometimes those were real movements that came through incomplete because something internally was not yet fully prepared to receive them, not as a punishment, not because you did something wrong, but because there are things that can only be received when certain interior work has been done, when certain understandings have been reached, when certain old patterns have been released enough to make room for what is new. And that work, that slow, invisible, underground work, has been exactly what this period of stuckness has been facilitating. This stuck feeling that has been so uncomfortable, so unwelcome, so resistant to your efforts to move through it faster, it has been the container in which something essential was being completed. The completion is near. I feel it so clearly that I want to ask you to trust me in the specific, personal way the title of this reading invites you to trust when I say, this time is different. Not because of external circumstances, because of internal ones, because of the work that has been done in you during this period of stillness, because of what you are now capable of receiving that you were not capable of receiving before this season began. The incredible thing that is reserved in your name has always been there. It was never not there. What has been changing is you, your readiness, your capacity, your ability to receive it at the size it actually is without immediately minimizing it or questioning it or finding a reason why it cannot possibly be for you. You are ready now, or close enough to ready that the universe is not waiting for perfection, it is moving. I want to close this reading by saying something to you that I mean in the deepest, most genuine way I know how to say it. The stuck feeling, the weight of it, the specific loneliness of it, the exhaustion of functioning while feeling like you are going nowhere that is about to lift. Not gradually, in a way that is so slow you barely notice. I feel a shift coming that is significant enough to register, significant enough to remember, significant enough that you will look back on this period, on this exact moment of watching this reading, of being exactly here in the middle of this stillness, and understand it as the moment just before everything changed, the last quiet before the movement began, the final held breath before the exhale. Everything that is reserved for you, the relief, the recognition, the connection, the material shift, the opening, the vindication of the standard you refuse to lower, the arrival of what you have been quietly and persistently and faithfully holding space for. All of it is real. All of it is yours. All of it has been waiting with your name on it through every day of this difficult, unglamorous, necessary season. And it is almost time. Go forward from this reading with that knowing in your body, not just in your mind. Let it settle into your shoulders, into your chest, into the place where the tension has been living. Let it begin, even now, even slightly, to soften that tension. Because what is coming deserves to find you a little more open than you were when you pressed play on this video, a little more trusting, a little more willing to believe that this time, something extraordinary is genuinely, specifically, irrevocably on its way to you. It is on its way, it has your name on it, and it is closer than you know. If this reading found you at exactly the right moment today, if it named something you have been living inside and couldn't quite articulate, please tell me in the comments below. Tell me how long you have been feeling stuck. Tell me what you are ready to receive. Tell me what shifted in you as you listened. I read every single comment, and this community genuinely sustains me. If you know someone who is in their own stuck season right now and needs to hear that something incredible is waiting for them, please share this video. A like helps this reach the people who most need it. And if you are not yet subscribed, I would love to walk this journey with you. Virgo, you are not stuck forever. You are just not there yet. And there is a profound difference between those two things that I hope you are beginning to feel